Hey.
Sean, how you saw the
performance? Performance against a very good side for starters. They've proved that with their home record. Too many mistakes from us, to be honest. They were a dominant force in the first half, getting done by straight balls, lots of long balls, which we didn't deal with very well, by our standards. And so pretty simplistic, really, in what we could have done better. Still some really good last-ditch defending when we had made mistakes. So it wasn't like we're just letting the mistakes and not, trying to make up for them. Jordan making a couple of good saves, Keno good blocks. Ben Godfrey made a couple of mistakes, made up for it with blocks. And Taki as well, and Seamus, So the reality was not doing the basics well enough in the first half as a collective, and they did and should have been further in front, although ironically we had probably the chance of the game with Ellis Sims, which may, because you never know in these places, but may have changed the feel of what was going on at that stage because it was 0-0.
What's the problem with the balls over the top? Was it high line? Was it unable to get pressure on the ball?
No, just not tuning in quick enough. You don't get your shoulders turned. You've got Rashford who, I can see why they're using that as a weapon, just, knocking it over the top, getting him running and stretching the pitch. They've got a lot more to it than that, by the way, but I'm just saying today they used it more than I've seen them recently. So there's obviously, I imagine, part of what they were thinking. We just didn't get our shoulders turned quick enough on a couple of occasions. We dealt with it better second half, and we dealt with the game better second half. A couple of changes sort of the tactical side of things, and we quelled the game better second half. But first half, they rightly so were in front. But we, on the other hand, we are showing more resilience, and we are finding ways to stay in games with a chance of getting something from them.
I think when we saw the team sheet, we probably expected Alex Iwobi to drop into the centre midfield. What was the deciding factor in probably going a bit more bold than that?
Well, we've done very well in the wide areas since I've been here, and I've been really pleased with Dwight McNeil and with Alex playing in them areas. Wondered if we could affect it in a different way. Ellis he's had a couple of cameos. He's getting more used to the training regime and what we do. Obviously, he's still young in his years in anyway, but particularly in the Premier League. And with Dimmy playing slightly more in a natural position off the front. It didn't really combine as well as we'd hoped, apart from, as I said, some very good play from Seamus Coleman to find a chance for Simo, and if he scores, probably he feels different, the whole team feels different at that stage.
How is Seamus as well?
Yeah, he's got a knock, so I'll just have to wait and see how that settles.
How do you lift the mood once again?
I don't know about once again. The mood's been great. I mean, you may have noticed we've been doing quite well. There's no lifting the mood again. What we're trying to do is keep the mood high, which I don't think is a problem. There's a reality of the challenge here. All the players know that. And we weren't miles away today. The details are massive at this level, and particularly more so when you're playing against clinical sides like this. They weren't as clinical as they could have been first half, but you get the point. The details of a performance are always important. Too many steps slightly off the performance levels today. There was a number who played very well, I thought, but too many slightly off, and slightly off at this level is enough when you come into a place like this.
Sean, do you feel like you say the reality when you look at like today it's defeat, you have to not get consumed by a loss because...
Well, no, the reality of coming here, the reality of the division as well, but every game's a tough game, but I think there are some statistically tougher than others, and this is certainly one of them this season. As I said, they've lost once at home this season, so statistically it is a tough place anyway. It doesn't mean you can't win, we all know that, but them stats are there for a reason. There's some big teams come here and still not got results, so that has to be a reality of your view of the whole performance and the market you're playing in at any given weekend.
Yeah, well,
any given week.
It's not so much that, it's just that you wouldn't expect that Everton are going to suddenly go and win 8 games in a row, so just because you lose a game you almost have to not forget it but move it to one side and concentrate on.
Yeah, you don't forget them, you make sense of them. We're speaking to the players about their individual performances, the collective performance, and showing them some clips and reason and going through the stats and all the markers. I must say they've been providing well. The growth in the side has been quite obvious, I think, and still some of the good things about what we're hoping to achieve were there today. The resilience, good, players making good blocks, and the keeper playing well when he's needed to play well. These are all part of a team performance, but at the same time, when you've got to do better on turnovers both ways. We gave the ball away so many times today in good positions, and we regained it in good positions, and didn't make either of them things work. And that's transition's a huge part of the Premier League. So I think we've got to do better in certain situations.
Sean, this was your first game without Adelaide today. Did you think you learned anything about how to approach the next 2 for him still being out?
Well, we looked at varying options today, you know, of a different change in with the starters, with Sims coming in, and during the game had to look at how we could calm the game down because they got the upper hand, and we did that. So there's some things you learn, but the performance is still going to be right. Forget about tactics. We've gone about tactics too much, you know, nowadays. If the mentality and the performance is not bang on what it needs to be, then it's hard to win games at this level.
And were any of the other substitutes injury enforced? Was there any concerns?
No, only Seamus we had to be careful with because he's got a knock and we're not sure whether it was a slight strain or a knock, so we'll find out more over the next couple of days with that.
Sean, how much of the first half performance and the struggles under the high ball, stuff like that, do you put down to the team getting to grips with a new system, if you will?
No, it's nothing to do with that. It's just basic errors. You know, we didn't get the press on, so it wasn't so much about forward. You know, you've got to get the press on as well. And if people are looking like the quarterback position, as I call it, when they're unloading, they're ready to unload. Then your defence have got to be ready for that. But the press is the important part. But Sims is learning about that. You know, he's a young player in Premier League terms, and he's still learning about when to press, how important it is to press and defend from the front. Dimmy were working on that side of his game anyway, you know, because we know his technical ability, but how many times can you defend from the front, how many times can you defend in the wide areas? You know, it's an education along the way of trying to win games. You know, you're trying to reform a side in a different way and look at different ways of winning games and different ways of making sure you don't get beat. So, you know, it's a work in progress. It's not just about the back four and someone playing a longer pass. It's not just about that. It's about the details of the team and how we prevent that. And we've been doing that pretty well, to be fair. And like I say, you know, you got to remember that it's a different kind of judgment when you're playing against teams with this much quality. You know, you look around the group there, the investment's massive because it's there for a reason, because they're very, very good players.
You mentioned you tried something different today, particularly in the first half. Just wondered what you made of the way the side adapted to that 4-4-2 in general, the positives and the negatives.
Well, we didn't defend well enough from the front, as I just went through. It's not completely natural to them two players, but we thought we could maybe quell it a bit quicker, and that allows the rest of the team more chance to format the defensive shape, if you like. The challenge of football, basically, is if Simsy whacks one in the corner when he goes through, you might look at it all differently. You don't know, you know, and that's the challenge. You know, no one's got a crystal ball at that stage. But retrospectively, you go, well, could that have changed things? It might well have done. There's no guarantees at place like this, no guarantees in football, but it might well have done. So then you would have looked and said, oh, it was a good decision. So that's how fine tactics are.
And just the final one, what did you make of James Garner when he came on?
Yeah, I mean, it's a cameo role, really. I mean, he's had, I can't think how many minutes, 20 minutes or whatever. But him and Dave have come on, you know, chasing the game, really. We're trying to work hard and get something out of it. But it's good to see him back fit, and he'll get fitter and sharper.
Sean, just for the housekeeping, obviously, Dele Alli looks like the match club.
Does he? Are you asking or telling me?
Well,
just out of interest.
Well, is that true? Is he coming back and
He's just getting some treatment. He's injured currently.
So will he be going back to Turkey or will he stay for the rest of the
He's under contract on a loan there.
How far away was Dominic from featuring today, and do you expect him to be back again?
I mean, 33 miles. Something like that. I don't know what the distance is from here to the training ground. Yeah, about that. No, he's making progress. On a serious note, he's making progress.
Okay, folks.
Cheers, thank you.